Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former East Carolina catcher, now with the Cincinnati Reds organization, Ryan McCrystal is here. What's up, Rhino?
How we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Wanted to catch up with you and also had to get you on because my Commanders and your Eagles meet in the playoffs. And just to make you feel a little bit at home, Ryan, I'll
Yeah.
hit
No.
this real quick. Let's see. Uh, ELGLLES Eagles. Had it from the Philadelphia mayor there. Fired up for some football.
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing, but I don't really care what she says as long as we win.
Let's go ahead and start there, and then we'll get to your career, which I know a lot of Pirate fans are interested in. But I'm ready for football this Sunday. Eagles get there by knocking off the Rams on Sunday. Commanders upset the Lions in Detroit. Are you worried at all about this hot Commanders team coming in here, Ron?
I can't say that I'm not a little bit worried. I told my girlfriend that it's different because the Commanders are so hot right now, and the Eagles they don't feel as hot because I don't know they last few years have just kind of been the same team, like very steady, winning a lot of games. And I said it's good that they're comfortable winning, but I also feel like it's so hard to play against a team that is freshly hot. Like it's dangerous for the Commanders to be on the highs and lows and everything of the season, but it's also really scary when you face a team come playoff time that is as hot as they are right now.
I would say the Eagles are hot defensively, right? I mean, the defense is there pretty much every week. So,
Yeah.
and look, Jaden Daniels had a lot of success against the Eagles last time, although they had like 4 turnovers in that game as well. So it could have gone either way. So if there's one thing that concerns me, I guess there's multiple things. It's the defense, but also, Hurts and Brown and Smith kind of waking up and having that big performance because Saquon's going to do something special. So there's a reason the Commanders are underdogs in this game.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that the Commanders just pack the line against Saquon, and we can maybe figure something out so that both the run game and the passing game can get going at the same time. I feel like I haven't seen that in a while. Just watching Eagles games, I feel like it's either one or the other. And this year, it's been almost strictly Saquon Barkley, which has been just incredibly fun to watch.
Well, I was going to say hopefully one of us can finally dethrone Patrick Mahomes, but if it's Chiefs Eagles, I might not even watch that Super Bowl. I might just eat, I don't know, pigs in a blanket for 4 hours or something.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably do that if you watched anyway, though, no?
Hey, good Ryan McCrystal roast. I miss those. All right, we'll circle back to the game, get your official prediction at the end. But Ryan, catch us up on what you've been up to. I know you said, so we talked to you in December, and you said you were going to go to Arizona, maybe see Tito, the new manager of the Reds, for a little pitcher catcher camp down there. So have you been to Arizona? And if so, what happened out there?
Yeah, I flew out to Arizona on the 3rd or 4th, and I was able to get there for 5-6 days, and it's called battery camp. So it's just pitchers, catchers, get to meet everyone, pretty much all the staff. So I got to meet the big league catching coach. I got to meet the minor league coordinator, the guy that kind of is in charge of sending you where you go and when you go up, and then the entire organization catching coordinator, and then Terry Francona talked to us and was hanging out a bunch. So it was really cool. I think just to see everyone in the organization for the first time, because obviously when you get drafted, it's in the middle of the season, and so you don't get to meet everyone that's involved in the organization, but to just get a little bit more personal with some of the people that are a little bit higher up in the organization, just kind of see just how good of people everyone throughout the organization is. I think it definitely made me feel a lot better too, just to get out there and realize that the whole organization through and through was as good as it seemed. So
Yeah.
it was really good for me.
Ryan, you talked about the Commanders being hot. Your bat was red hot down the stretch of your East Carolina career. And we also know how you can throw runners out from that catcher position. Did they talk to you individually about, defensive catching or anything like that? Or was it more just, hey, let's get these pitchers throwing, let's get some catchers to catch them? How much kind of instruction was there versus just kind of getting loose out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of catching instruction that, especially, I think I've kind of initiated a bunch of it. I think that I know what I'm capable of when it comes to my bat, and I think that I want, if my career is going to be as good as I think it has the potential to be, and if I'm going to be able to succeed in the long run, I think I'm going to be able to need to do it on both sides of the ball, because when the bat's not as hot, I'm going to need to be able to bring something to the team. And
Yeah.
so defensively, it's more so been working on receiving, blocking, learning different stances and everything. And then one thing I think I've always been pretty good about is relationships with pitchers and everything. And so that's really important throughout the organization, especially when you get guys that are speaking Spanish, guys that come from different backgrounds. So it's been a bunch of just fundamentals when it comes to receiving and how I can utilize my size when it comes to targets, when it comes to picking apart different parts of the strike zone. And then when it comes to the three aspects of catching, blocking, throwing, and receiving, and how receiving is obviously the most important one. But the way baseball is moving right now, the direction that it's going is very run game, fast pace, or it's getting just very run oriented. And so one thing that they're telling me is that my bat plus the arm are two things that are just very, very sought after right now at the catching position. And so the more I can work on keeping those where they are and improving those, which are my strengths, and then bringing up my receiving and blocking and the other things that might be average or a little bit below average in order to make them either good or just average. It's one of those things that can really help my career take off, and that we're all looking really forward to seeing how it progresses.
Ryan, how fortuitous was it for you to play at East Carolina with a former catcher in Cliff Godwin, the pitching coach, Austin Knight, who we had on last week, talked about how important the catchers are for his pitchers at ECU, and he's knows a lot about the catcher position, obviously. So how much did that help you coming up and maybe give you a leg up on the things you're learning now?
Yeah, it was definitely very beneficial for me, especially guys like AK and Henry. They were huge for me, just in understanding like how what I do, how what I do like affects the pitcher themselves, and how AK kind of taught me just how to call a game, like when to back up certain pitches with other pitches. And while we weren't calling the game, we had an influence on what we were throwing, on what we thought was good. And I think that them being able to like help me catching wise, but also the mentality of being a catcher, how about how like the pitcher's only looking at you and how there's 7 fielders behind him, but the most important thing is what he feels and what he thinks when he's looking at you, and how influenced he is by you, your body language when it comes to his confidence. And so that's something that like I think I definitely learned. It's probably the biggest thing that I learned at ECU was how I handled myself back there really affected the pitcher, and how just even if I was upset at a pitch call or I was upset at something that I did, I couldn't let that affect me. I couldn't let it change the way the pitcher saw me, because I'm kind of where their confidence is, like their rock in a way when you're on the field. So being able to learn from those guys, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I think especially Henry, I think he was huge for me last year from a hitting side of things, but also a catching side of things, is catching at the level that he did. Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. He's just creating trouble already. You say, hey, Moose. Say hey to everyone in East Carolina.
What's up, Moose? All right, back with Ryan McCrystal and Moose. What's up, Moose?
Stay there.
You mentioned a moment ago, Ryan, on baby dog duty here. You mentioned a moment ago about, if you don't like a pitch call. AK said that his pitchers, when he joined us last week, said his pitchers would shake him off every now and then. What's your role in that? Are you just kind of sitting back watching it all, right? Like you don't have much say in that aspect of it as a catcher at ECU, do you?
You do to an extent, but I think a lot of that comes in the middle of the innings when you're communicating with AK, when you're communicating with the pitcher on what you're seeing, especially either knowing what the pitcher's most confident in when it comes to throwing like whatever they need to for a strike, but also what you're seeing approach-wise from the other team. I mean, if you have a team that is clearly sitting dead red heaters up in the zone, then there's obviously a different approach when you have a guy like Trey who his fastball is his best when it's at the top. So you have to just kind of communicate with them, and that's kind of where J-Dub and I have the biggest influence, I think, was in between innings and giving guys confidence. I mean, this is unreal, Moose. You were asleep.
It's
he was
very
asleep
appropriate,
for 4 hours.
It's appropriate. You're talking about having to.
What my head sounds like.
You're talking about having to adjust mid-game. We're having to adjust mid-interview. You gotta make adjustments. So that's what it's all about.
Unfortunately, he got all of his toys on the bed at one time, and so that's why he's kind of having a little field day.
Hey, look, let Moose have his fun. We'll have this interview. It's good. I feel like Ryan. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. I feel like growing up, when I thought about framing as a catcher, it was more like from off the white into the zone. Now it's more like catching it low and bringing it up. Like is that kind of the thing now? When you talk about receiving, you got to be so fluid with your motion, right? And some guys are better at it than others, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it's just making a consistent move every single time. I think that one direction I think catching is going that I'm not a big fan of is trying to steal so many strikes that you might lose pitches that are actually strikes. And so I think that one thing that Henry always said was like, we're going to keep strikes, like no matter what. Like the worst thing you can do as a catcher is catch a pitch that should have been a strike and get it turned to a ball, and your pitcher's like, what just happened? Like I thought I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And so one thing they're teaching me a lot is at the bottom, because as a bigger catcher, like I need to be more consistent with my move underneath, because they have stats on everything. And so they had my chart for my receiving. My connection is just terrible no matter where I am, I guess. Sorry.
I can hear you. You're just in slow-mo.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. It's brutal. I changed off the Wi-Fi onto the Wi-Fi, but it's whatever. We'll figure it out. But, I mean, anyway, they showed me my charts and everything, and the top of the strike zone was very red. Like I was stealing pitches at the top really well, and the bottom was like a light blue, which obviously showed that I lost more pitches at the bottom than I won. And so I think a big goal for me this year is to be consistent when it comes to like not jumping at a pitch in order to catch it, like not having to react to it right away, and more so seeing where it's going to go, the trajectory of it, and trying to like stay underneath the ball for as long as I can. And so, yeah, I think that's something that they're definitely teaching me, but I think that I need to keep like the mentality that Henry had of it helps pitchers more so when you keep strikes than it does when you steal a strike, but you might lose a strike here and there. So that's something that I'm kind of trying to incorporate into what they're teaching me to kind of find that middle ground that's going to work for me.
I can't wait till Cliff sees this, because once a coach, always a coach. He saw that you did the last interview from a golf course, and he was like, man, I'd have told McCrystal just to screw off and you know, wait till he could get in an office or something. I was like, no, it's fine. That's kind of Ryan's personality, right? Like, so I can't wait till he sees this one. He's going to love this.
Yeah. Well, I can tell I'm sitting at a desk this time, and I guess it didn't matter. I can't figure
out. All right, Ryan, we'll let you run and get back to Moose, but what's your prediction for Sunday?
I got Eagles 24. I got Redskins 20, or sorry, Commanders 21.
Wow. Okay. I don't want to say I'll take that, but man, it would be a fun. So hey, I'm just along for the ride now. Really wanted that Bucs game, got that one. House money against Detroit. So I kind of feel like we still got that house money feeling, but would obviously love to go.
That scares me a little bit. The house money feeling is a little bit scary.
Yeah.
I did kind of unfortunately.
Have fun with Moose, and we'll keep in touch, man. We'll get you on. When do you go back to Arizona?
February 15th, I go to spring training.
Gotcha. All right, good deal. Well, keep up the good work, man. Good to catch up with you, Ron.
Absolutely. Good to talk to you.
Later, Moose.
All right. See ya.